So I've been on Arch for maybe about a month now, and from my experience, I've noticed I can do almost everything that I want to get done. So why is it only almost? Let's have a look. Good morning everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So you may want to hear the almost straight away, but you know what? Because I want you guys to keep watching the video, we're going to talk about what I can do first, because that's how viewer retention works. So basic stuff like web browsing, there's no issue there. All of them, like Firefox, Chrome, both available. I actually don't even know if Chrome is, I don't use Chrome. There are versions of Chromium that are available on Linux. Presumably Google Chrome is, but I don't particularly want to use it, so I don't really care. Right now I'm using Firefox. It works great on Linux. Probably better than it did on Windows. I don't know why. Probably just because Windows is generally slow. Video editing, I was using OpenShot. Now I'm using Kdenlive. OpenShot is available on Windows, so there's no change there. And Kdenlive, just a better application in general. Photo editing, I'm using GIMP. I was using GIMP before. It's GIMP, so it's got its weird peculiarities about it. But once you get used to them, they're not really that big of a deal. Watching videos, I use MPV. I've used MPV for ages. It's probably the best video player out there, unless you just want to use MPlayer and just completely scrap the GUI, but I do like having those GUI controls there. They're kind of nice to have. For PDF viewing, I'm using Zathura. Before I was using Sumatra on Windows. They're both pretty good. Zathura is just super minimalist. So the almost comes into play when we start talking about programming. So for the most part, everything's available on Linux. You want to do PHP, you want to do Python, Ruby, Java, everything's available. With one exception. And that one exception is something that really bothers me because there's a lot of people who use that in businesses in my area, and I kind of want to do some projects in it. And that is the full ASP.NET stack. So ASP.NET Core is available on Linux, but Core has a lot of missing features. If I remember correctly, for web development, it only has Razor pages available, which Razor pages are great, but there are a lot of legacy applications that use things like ASP.NET Web Forms, which is not currently available as part of the .NET Core framework. And I'm guessing that's because Microsoft wants to move away from that. So as the years go on, it looks like ASP.NET is moving towards being fully open source, which would be great for working on Linux. But for now, if I want to do web forms, I need a Windows environment, which is slightly annoying. And obviously, if I want to do any Windows application development, I need a Windows environment for that. Obviously, I can virtual machine that, so it's not a big deal, but I would like to be able to do stuff like that natively on Linux. I could do Mono stuff and develop Windows applications like that, but Mono has some issues, and it's not fully compatible with the Windows application development platform. It's pretty much compatible, and you won't have difficulties most of the time, but there's just small things here and there where you'll run into issues. There's one slight issue with working on ASP.NET Core applications without being in Visual Studio, and that is you lose a lot of the auto-generation tools that come with Visual Studio. But since I work in VS Code or VS Codium, which is just a set of build scripts for VS Code, so it's basically the same application, there are snippet extensions which I can use, and basically what that is it will just print out some code when you put in a certain key phrase. Or instead of doing that, I could write out some shell scripts just to customize them the way that I want them to be. It's still nicer to be able to say, I want to create this, or I want to create this, and not really have to worry about opening up a new file, writing in the keyword, trying to remember what the keyword is, and then actually starting from there. But it's not a big hurdle to get over, and once I start remembering what the keywords do, then I'll get used to it, and I can work in ASP.NET Core stuff perfectly fine. So if we move away from something that's a pain to work with, and move on to something that's a bit nicer, I've installed Snapped on my Arch install, so now I can install Snap Packs. And the nice thing about that is that when there are applications out there that I can't really get working any other way, like I had trouble getting the open source Spotify clients working. Some of them are kind of nice, but they just, I don't know, I was doing something wrong and I couldn't get them working. But Spotify, available on the Snap Store, which is nice. So I've got Spotify working now. And if I have a strange idea and I'm like, I want to work with an IDE today, which I don't tend to feel like doing most of the time, but when I do, I generally go to the JetBrains suite. I also like Visual Studio, but we're not getting that on Linux anytime soon, so we'll just ignore that. But when I want to do some Java development or I want to do some C++, generally I like using the JetBrains suite. And the JetBrains suite are all available as snap packs, so I can comfortably install those on my Arch system without having any difficulty. They are kind of slow, but that's what you kind of get with snap packs. So I think that's pretty much everything for this video. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe and hit the little bell icon below if you want to see more from my channel. And if you think your friends will like this video, remember to share it with them as well. So I think that's pretty much everything, and I'm out.